When I was running the race in 2014, and I was just, as you're running, you talk to people, of course, other people running it, and I'm talking to a guy who, the week before, he was working with natives in the Amazon, or somebody else who's running it because of a dead friend or whatever, and I just thought everybody's got these, everybody running this thing is a novel unto itself. And I thought I need, and I like to document things. That's just something I like to do. I like to photograph, I like to write things down. And so I said, I need to tell some of these stories. What's wrong with you that you would run 100 miles? I find that there is a lot of people who deal with mental illness, with addiction, eating disorder, that kind of those kind of things. Drawn to that long running game, probably because it takes an obsessive type of mind, probably because you really have to get to know yourself. The surreal beauty of night running is what first pops into my mind. Zumbro, a hill of ice and rock to take bones and teeth, pinholes of headlamps bobbing across a distant ridge. The crunch of snow covers mud, sand, steam, and when I stop, say it's to tie a shoe, the high-pitched songs of coyotes silence that owl who's been whispering, scratching my brain since midnight. Superior, stars so thick I could grab handfuls from that sky, so much heat, and this air blankets me, scrapes my skin and scalp. Water tumbles rocks far below, and bats flit through that setting moon, red as a burning ember. At Beaverhead, I wander down the mountain and through what I first think is a field of boulders that transform into cows, standing, bellowing, running from me. There's a lovely solitude that comes from being on the trail at night, even when running with others, a sense of peace, a sense of being in a holy place. A sense of being holy. A sense of being whole. You've got a lot of hours to finish Barkley, right? Because it's a really difficult race. Another incredibly difficult race in the U.S. is Hard Rock. I think you get 48 hours to finish Hard Rock. It's in the San Juan Mountains of Colorado with some 14,000 foot type stuff. Superior, which is one of the harder races, has a 38-hour cutoff. Some easier races may have like a 24-hour cutoff, meaning you have that much time to complete the race. So you can kind of get a sense of the difficulty of the course by how long you're allowed to run it. It's a different kind of misery. You really need to consider the difference between discomfort and pain if you want to get through it, I think. Because discomfort is something that's very acceptable and temporary. And so I think usually the miserable moments have come about because of weather. When I had been running it at the Zumbro 100 for about 24 hours and it was maybe 35 degrees and this horrible wind, rain onslaught came out of the sky with hail and lightning and I ended up dropping from that race where they call. It's interesting because people seem to like the longer stuff the older they get. You don't see a lot of 65-year-olds running hundreds, but you do see 50 to 55 sometimes winning hundreds. So, and if you're talking about age, let's talk about gender too. You also see a lot of closing that gender gap that like you might see in a marathon where men generally finish ahead of women. In 100, I know some women who do what we call chicking a race, meaning they win the race outright. I think that has to do with childbirth and the ability to bear pain, you know what I mean, over long periods of time. Women tend to do better the longer they go, and as far as being compared to men.